You know what? I'm about to say it.
Say
If the battle at the end of this video doesn't get you hype, you shouldn't be allowed to have sex with your car. I mean, you shouldn't be allowed to put your dick inside your cars. I mean, you should be banned from iRacing. This will be a race unlike anything you've ever seen on this channel, except, I suppose, for Joey's last video, which was also raining. And you can see the weather there. It's a huge dry patch that we're in, but rain has just passed over the track. So the track is in a wet state, and we're currently on slicks, which was a bit of a struggle around this qualifying lap, especially because I had no idea what the conditions were, where the limit of grip was. You can see me trying to take some of these apex curbs. You can still use a lot of the exit curbs, but overall it was just a pretty big struggle for me. I'd never driven this track in these conditions. I had done a downpour race, which it was absolutely pissing. It was like a monsoon, and that was obviously a full wet tire strategy, but this one would prove to be something totally different. Around qualifying, it didn't feel to be all that bad on the slicks. The track actually felt pretty good, but I knew that there was a lot of rain coming on the radar. Yeah, I didn't really know what to do for the race. And to be honest, I just didn't really know what to do in qualifying either. I ended up placing myself in P11, over a second off of the top guys up there. You may notice Jeff from the last video, he's starting at the front. I want to call out to this car number 20, who's starting directly ahead of me, Elliot Piper, who also hit me up. Is a viewer of the channel, and you'll see we immediately go flying past Elliot as we get a decent launch. It is raining, but there's very, very little spray coming from any of the cars, and everybody on this track is on wets, except for one, and we'll cover that when the time comes. Now, up the inside of car number 24 through turn 1, we've got the inside for turn 3, following car number 15 through the dirt. We actually got an off track for that. I've never gotten an off track on that straight before, so that was a bit new. Now, I thought car number 24 was going to back out here, and I felt like I had a decent run and a look up the inside, so I go up the inside of 15. 24 goes flying deep and does not, really make that corner. 15 still gets away ahead of him, and we move forward into P8, so we're up 3 positions already. Fairly good lap, and we're in the slip of Cameron Best. The track did seem like it was getting wetter as well. It was continuing to rain, so it seems like we may have made the right decision by going on to the wets. We are under a bit of pressure from car number 15 here, and I am not a very confident wet driver. I like to have some time to learn the lines, and I had done absolutely zero practice in any type of wet conditions. It had all been dry for me, which I think is the best way to practice. You kind of learn the dry line and you adapt through the wet as you go. Now, car number 22 up the inside of 15 through turn 4 on lap number 2. That cools off the pressure, and we're kind of able to just drive our own race for most of this race up until lap number 7. Looking at the radar, you can see that it is about to monsoon, which is really important for this guy, who just went flying up the inside in turn 1. I actually let him through, and I'll explain all of it. You'll see him give a wiggle as I give him a bump, because he is on dry tires, and it's about to piss rain. So this is really the story of this race. I'm going to go back to lap number 1, and we're going to cover this guy's entire race, basically, at least up until lap number 7, because it was pretty insane. Now, he's the only person on dry tires in this race, and you can see his lack of confidence initially because it was wet in qualifying. The rain had just passed. The track was still wet right now, just a bit, but when you're on that slick tire, it's better safe than sorry, at least until you drive a lap or 2 and you see the limits of the grip and you're able to utilize that and find your advantages. Now, down the straight, at this point, it's still really early in the race, and he has an advantage on the straight, but it's not major. It's not as big of an advantage, honestly, as having the wet tire through these wet corners still is. You can see the confidence of that car ahead to just jut all of the way ahead of him. However, through the rest of this lap, car number 20 will end up finding some space, and by turn number 7, he is beginning to kind of settle into the grip that he's finding on the track because it was drying up. There's a very large patch of no raining before that monsoon comes in, or not monsoon, but before that strong rain comes in. So into turn number 9, and he gets a really good exit, ends up gaining a position there, and that would be somewhere he ended up really favoring. Lap number 2, you can see his confidence getting just slightly too high as he goes very, very deep into the dirt, and it looks like he may even lose a position here to this red and black car tucking in behind him. And that's bound to happen when you're taking a gamble on tires and you're testing the limits. You'll probably go deep somewhere. Don't beat yourself up over it. Honestly, like, at some point you have to take a little bit of a gamble like that just to really push the limits of grip and see what's possible. Now, into turn number 9, again, this is where he's looking up the inside. He has that huge advantage out of turn 7, honestly, all of the way to the end of the track, where he is just faster than anybody on wets. Now, it did begin to rain, So the track got drier, and then it immediately started getting a bit wetter. But I think what was more important than that is by the point where the rain had begun to come in, he had found some confidence. And he's approaching this battle of 3 cars who were kind of switching positions. And you can see just how quickly he is catching them. Like, within every corner, every little tiny straight, he's gaining at least 1-2 tenths. And through corners 6 and 7, this is where he had a major advantage. Riding the outside, there's a lot of grip. He's on those dry tires. They hook up immediately. And especially once you get in a straight line, the dry tires are much faster. There's car number 24, car number 15 that you saw earlier from my race. They're still duking it out. And he is going to get both of those positions heading towards corner number 9. Up the inside, he actually might not get this position. Down to corner number 10, and he's going to play it safe, back out. Smart move. I jumped the gun saying he would get both of those positions. I was hopeful, and honestly, when I saw this happening in my relative, I saw car number 20 gaining time on everybody and just gaining position after position every single lap. I realized what was happening and that he took that gamble, and to see this strategy play out in real time was the coolest thing I've ever seen on iRacing. And I mean, it's also cool to see, like, he's pushing people down the straights. He was just very well controlled. It was an extremely smoothly executed plan. It wasn't just the fact that, oh, he took the gamble on like the dries and he's faster. It's how well he executed these overtakes, how safe all of them were. He wasn't wasting time. It was just perfect. Like, he found the grip. He took his time to find the grip, and then he utilized it to his advantage. Now, lap number 7, we're back to where we were when I got overtaken by him, and you'll see that it's raining. It is raining. So his tires should begin to fall off. It's going to get really sketchy through the corners, but and cute little wiggle from him as we did give him that bump there. I was rooting for him. But as I was saying, the track's getting wetter. The corners are going to get very difficult for him, but he still, as long as he can get that car pointed the right way and get on the throttle, he's going to gain time. And you can see him just absolutely flying, making another overtake into turn 9, which seemed to be his specialty. As long as you kind of get set up through corners 6 and 7 and you knock down that overtake into 9, at least he did, and he made it look flawless every single time, and he made it look effortless. Like this, it was just awesome to see. I was losing my shit watching him go past me. Now, skipping ahead to lap number 11, and we're going to cut back to my race for a bit. We'll kind of jump in between and check on Elliott and what he's doing. Now, we are approaching Eric Rivera 2, who is somebody I was actually in voice comms with as we were doing this race. And you can see that he has about a second gap to P7. I'm currently in P9, and that gap to P7, we were really trying to close as a group. I didn't want to put a ton of pressure on him immediately. I wanted to give him some time to try and catch, but he was making a couple of mistakes. And to give you some context as to what we were talking about in VC, well, before this race, we were chatting about the abysmal handling of the Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton situation at Miami, and how they just didn't swap positions, and then they did swap positions, but it was late, so they were just losing time, and then they swapped back. Like, it was just a mess. And how you need to make a decision early on and stick with it. And that's just team racing, which I thought was what we were going to be doing here, but it ended up not being that. And after he was saying to me that he would let me through at some point if he couldn't catch, but on to lap number 14, I guess he changed his mind, because he told me that if you want to get around me, you're going to have to battle me. Now, I have no problem battling someone. I absolutely love battling, but he had kind of wanted to team race, it felt like, earlier on, and not have me just fight him then and let me sit behind him, which I would have just battled him then if I knew that this was going to be the case. So anyways, sat behind him for like 3 or 4 laps. I'm just going to fling it up the inside at this point and try and get that move done ASAP. So through turn 3, up the inside, and we're going to just about end up dying as he gets onto the curb and his car spins. Not intentional, but it did give us a 4 times. We weren't really in incident trouble, though. In the rain, you don't really get in incident trouble, honestly. The rain just feels really safe to drive because you're oftentimes not even pushing the limits of the track. Now, I want to skip forward to car number 20, back on board with Elliott, who is in P3. He has been fighting his way up the entire grid, and he's about to make his way up into P2 through corner number 9, and it is just so satisfying to see this. Up the inside of Lucas A. Martinez, which is car number 1 right there, who was previously in P2, and you'll see him just build a gap almost immediately with those dry tires, pulling away a few tenths on the pit straight, and he is now chasing down the leader. Now we're on lap number 15 and the rain is picking up. You can see the diffusers are now throwing up spray, and there is a battle going on right ahead of us. These guys, we've caught up to them quite a bit in the past few laps, and a major spin from P7 Cameron Best. We find room up the inside. He's not able to react in time, or optimally he should have reacted before I even made that move. Now we have the inside for corner number 4. He's going to brake later, as you kind of have to on the outside if you want to make that move work. I'm going to stay side by side with him though and just hold it as tight as I can, try and find the dry patch on the outside. He ends up going into the dirt, which really I think is the reason that we got this move done so cleanly, and we're up into P7. We are still losing a little bit of I rating, but I think from P11 to P7 in the rain, where I am really not comfortable, I was fairly happy with. Lap number 16, the penultimate lap, and car number 20 is beginning to struggle. It is pissing rain. The diffuser is being thrown up like nothing it has been like this entire race. So he is in conditions now that are unknown to him, losing a ton of time in the corners. He is still faster on the straight though. You can see him pulling a bit of a gap, but into corner number 4, he's under a lot of pressure from the previous P2 holder, looking to get that P2 back. Gonna end up going out onto the gravel in the curb. He has the inside for turn number 6, but it could definitely get risky through here. You have to brake early with these slicks, otherwise you end up going deep. And he's going to do that. Car number 1 pushing around the outside, and he gets the move done, middle of the corner. 20 is now under fire to lose P3, and it looks like he might fall off the podium as car number 3 wants to maintain that podium. And car 20 drifts out just a bit, almost defends that corner successfully, but ends up allowing space on the inside for 3 to go through, and that gives him the inside of 9, which is almost a guaranteed position, especially because of these tires. And you'll see that 3 is just able to brake so much later, use so much more of the racing line, where 20 is really limited to trying to stay on track. Speed is becoming a secondary thing right now, and he's in P4. P5 is on his tail on the final lap. There's a pretty big gap from P5 to P6, so P4 is probably his best bet at a finishing position, but into turn 3, and the rain is just too much. He cannot get the car stopped anymore. It's sliding left and right. He's lost P4, but with a big enough of a gap, he will be able to maintain P5. And P6, the battle is between myself and Dynaco McQueen as I'm looking to put pressure on him into turn 3. It's the last lap. I want to go around the outside, but he opens it up, kind of just drives into us, pushing us wide, which we were also locking up our tires, so that would have been a probably a failed move any way you shake it, but that contact did kind of push us out, and we weren't able to catch back up to him before the end of the lap and really the end of the race. So we're going to cross the line in P7. Not a bad result, definitely could have been better, but I realized that I have a lot of work to do, not only with my rain driving, but really with strategy, because I think strategy is more important in some of these races. As displayed by Elliott that race, we ended up crossing the line in P7. Could have been way worse, could have died. Always look at it that way. Elliott, fantastic stuff. I'm 90 I rating. I'm just blown away by that gamble and how well it paid off. Lost a little bit of I rating. Honestly, we didn't really go anywhere. It was just more of an experience race for me, which is good and something we'll need in the future. Now, this next race, very, very, very different in every single way. We're starting on pole position, and the car behind us was about 3/10 off of our qualifying lap. The times quickly taper off from there, so I figured that this would kind of be a 2-horse race, and it very much would be. Lap number 1, let's get underway. The battle is about to begin, and this will be a battle for the ages, one of the best battles I've ever had in my life. Cutting to the inside because I got a horrible start, and around the outside, car number 1 goes flying and claims that position. I gave him way too much room. I was way too generous with my braking, and I'm gonna note that for the future. There was one small accident through turn 1, but this was one of the cleanest races that I think I've ever witnessed at Red Bull Ring. As into the first corner, they're just about 3 wide. 10 is in a very strange position, ends up making a little bit of contact with 6 and gets spun. Racing incident, I would say. Everybody was trying to get through there safely. Now back on board with us as we are chasing down. I don't even want to try and say this guy's name. I'm actually not even going to try and say it. I'm just going to call him Car 1. So chasing Car 1 down, and he's 7.7K, so I assume that he would be pretty fast. And we very quickly built a gap, just just chasing him down. I wasn't trying to make a move immediately. I knew that we had the pace as a little duo to kind of get away from the rest of the grid. Now, I did go very deep there, and I actually got a slowdown, which was really unfortunate because I had been hanging on to this guy for so long. I wanted to stay on him, and I knew this slowdown was going to do the opposite of that. I have to sacrifice an entire second to get rid of that slowdown. So he is just about going to get out of slipstream, and if there's ever a time for him to show his pace, it is right now. This is his opportunity to break away from me, because my attitude is I am faster than you, and I'm gonna get that time back. I am in slipstream. I'm just gonna get closer. The laps are just gonna get faster, and eventually we're going to have a battle. So it's really up to him whether or not that battle will ever happen. But as you saw me say at the beginning of this race, there is a battle, so you know it's going to happen. But he doesn't know that. I don't know that. We're just trying to, we're trying to do opposite things here. He doesn't want to fight. I want to fight him more than anything in the world right now. We have a 5-second gap to P3. It's basically just us two on track, which creates my favorite situation in racing. Just a 1v1. It's two guys looking for the win, like a battle for the lead between two guys on an island. I don't know. As a driver, I think this is much more exciting. As a viewer, I would like to see carnage. I would like to see a pack. I would like to see some insane three-way battles. But as a driver, just 1v1, picking somebody apart, watching what's faster, paying attention to all of the little details in each other's laps, and trying to find an advantage, as well as trying to time when to use that advantage relative to the length of the race, and relative to how many opportunities you're going to give somebody after you make a pass, or if a failed pass is going to pull you off so much that you're not able to try another attempt. I don't know what I'm saying, but I absolutely love this situation. Now we are second behind him. We have gained a 10th over that last lap, or just over the first sector of this lap, and should that trend continue, we're on lap 7. If we gain a 10th every lap, we'll be on him in 9 laps, which is 16. So that gives us 2 laps to make a move. Realistically, once you get into slipstream of about 3/10, 4/10, you soak up a lot more. I was making good time this lap until I just went extremely deep through corner number 6, that is. And I just realized that I have totally mislabeled corners 7 and 8 as 6 and 7 all the way through that first race. Deeply sorry about that. You might have been confused about that. But yeah, we negated our time loss this lap, sadly, with that horrible run through corner number 6, losing 2 tenths to him. We were 8 tenths away. We are now a full second. But coming up to the most important part of the track for slipstream, you're gaining probably a 10th down the pit straight as you head towards the next lap, and then you're gaining even more time down that run all of the way to turn 3, which is very long. Now, lap number 8 comes around. We've gained a 10th, just basically as I expected. If we're not totally pushing the car and just riding in slip and doing clean laps, I think we could easily gain a 10th a lap, maybe more. If we're really pushing the car, maybe 3/10 a lap, I think it's possible. I know I could do 31.4s, 31.3s in slip, which would make a huge difference. I'm doing 31.6s right now, still faster than him, but we're not pushing the limits, which I think is what we need to do, because like that mistake we made in corner number 6, it cost us 2 tenths. If we keep doing that, it negates the possibility of a time that we could gain pushing. I think it's safer to just ride in the slip and try and time this to have 4 or 5 laps to battle at the end, as opposed to getting 7 or 8. Even if I do catch him earlier and I try and battle him right now, what does that really do for me? It gives him more time as the car behind to try and make a move on me, which I don't really want. I want to get past him with as minimal time as possible for him to get back past me. Now we're just about half of a second off of him on lap number 9, so we're starting to reach that range where honestly a move could be approaching within a lap or 2 if we don't make any mistakes and drive clean laps. And I think he's realizing that, because the pressure may be mounting as he doesn't really open up corner 9 all that much. He gets a really good usage of that apex curb, but overall he's suffering, I think, from a slightly narrow entry all of the way that begins with that corner number 9. And crossing the line, we are now 3 tenths away. We did a 31.5, 4 tenths faster than his last lap, so we gained a ton of time there. Now this is quite a bit earlier than I was expecting to be this close to him, and I didn't want to be all that close to him right now. If you get too close, maybe they overslow, you end up losing time, or you run into the back of them, get a slight slide, and end up losing time that way. I think it's just safer to keep about a 3/10 gap. This is optimal for getting a run towards corner 3, which I was actually attempting on this lap number 14, but I got a really, really bad run through turn number 1, and you'll see that by the time we reach corner number 3, it would have to be some kind of send, and I'm not going to do that, partially because I don't want to risk dying, but also because now that he has seen me be that close and not make a dive, he may be comfortable with that. I think that you can use that to your advantage whenever you have an opportunity, when you know that you can make a move and you have time on the clock, just take a lap or even 2 laps to not make that move. And then eventually, when you do make that move, they won't be expecting it, they won't be anticipating the dive whatsoever, and that's kind of what we're going to do here. It's about the same gap. We're moving to the inside right before the braking zone, braking as late as we possibly can, but he's going to go around the outside flawlessly. Absolutely gorgeous stuff from him there. I may have allowed him too much room, as he didn't even have to touch that yellow curb, but he gets a crazy good run, and I'm left totally behind him. I'm going to move to the outside as if I'm going to sit behind him here, and last second, we're going to try it again, flinging it up the inside, and he, god damn it, executes the most perfect switchback I have ever seen on iRacing. Like, oh, that was beautiful stuff. You can't be mad about that. I was so hyped, and I'm so hyped watching it right now, just like how fucked I was through there. Like, absolutely beautiful stuff from him. Now, he doesn't get a great run through corner number 6, but neither do we, and we're in the same situation as last lap. We're just right on his tail. He has a small slide through corner number 7, and could be an opportunity for me into 9. I'm going to hold him tight as we run up to 9, looking for the switchback here, because it's very hard to take that tight line and get the car stopped on the apex enough to avoid the switchback. I don't get on throttle early enough. The move was definitely there, but we just don't fully commit, and he does very well there to even allow space if we were to send it up the inside, but we're going to fall back in line. Lap number 16, there's this lap and one more, so it looks like I may be running into one of these cases that I've run into so often where I wait too long thinking, oh, I'll just execute the move and get it done. Easy as that, clean stuff. That's not what was happening here. He was defending amazingly, and now he knows that I'm going to make this move. I have a huge run on him. He's defending the inside, and we're switching roles from the last lap. However, he does not open up the inside whatsoever, so we're able to go very deep around the outside, get a huge run out, using all of that curbing, just barely staying on track with the right tire, and we are going to, it's basically exactly what happened last lap. We now are ahead. He's going to tuck behind me, and I do not want him to replicate what I did to him, so I'm going to move to the inside to defend this and totally park it on the apex. I think he was looking for the switchback, but I'm not letting that happen. Not again. It's done. It's over. Nobody's ever committing a switchback on me again. I will park the car. I will go down to reverse gear on every single apex if I have to, and drive you off of the track backwards towards the last corner, but I will never get switchback like that again. It was too beautiful, and I can't be that victim. Now, we just have to not make any mistakes. Through corner number 8, very, very small slide, immediate counter steer. We are flying through here, and we have a 2/10 gap to him right now. It's going to be a battle into turn 3. That's what I'm expecting. Honestly, it could even be a battle into turn 1. Some psychopaths will send it into turn 1. I'm hoping this guy is not one of those. I made a big mistake through corner number 9. If he is one of those psychopaths, this is about as perfect of a time as he will ever get onto the final lap, and he is kind of nudged towards the inside, if nothing else, just to see the corner up ahead, and he's not going to make the move. Thank God. So we're able to go through corner number 3, pulling out a little secret move from my book here, where you take an intentional off track over that yellow curbing, and it gains you about half of a tenth to a full tenth. It is abusive on this track. If there's ever somebody behind you, or you're trying to get a run on somebody and you have some incident points, just fucking use them there. Go off track, go flying. We pull to the inside, then immediately pull back to the outside once we get into the braking zone to avoid him going around the outside. We actually push all of the way to the outside, but he is going to switch back me again. Beautiful stuff. He could have been side drafting me here a bit more. He's actually going to try to as we go flying down towards corner number 4. I'm trying to hold him tight as much as I can, opening up the corner for myself at the last second, which should open up the opportunity to go around the outside. I'm not sure if he was trying to prevent the switchback, but he holds it extremely tight, and we're around the outside. That gives us the inside for corner number 6, which is typically somewhere that you see people separate. You see one person go ahead, one person go behind, and through the corner, he's not giving up but he pushes a little bit too hard. Very small slide, catches it perfectly on the apex, but we move ahead. We're into the lead of the race. There's only a few corners left. He's gonna have to fling something absolutely ridiculous here if he wants to make it work. As long as I don't make a mistake, I think I have 2 to 3 tenths here. That should be more than enough to negate the possibility of an overtake through these last couple of corners. He's not going to do anything insane here. I also broke very late for corner number 9, and pushing towards the final corner, all I have to do is not fuck this up, not get a slow down, and I fucking miss the apex. I get a terrible run. He nailed that corner. He's flying up on us, but thank God the line is so close, and we're able to maintain the lead of the race. Oh my God, dude, I got so hyped like watching this back. Best battle ever. We didn't make contact once. It was so fucking good. This is gonna sound dumb, but I legitimately went inside and showed my girlfriend this race and told her all about it. I was like doing like the driving steering motions and the hand motions of where the cars were in bed. It was fucking awesome. Oh my God, we gained iRating 2 and safety rating, like the perfect race. Just so much fucking fun. And if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the link in the description, the video on your screen, and subscribe.